stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy. Peggy comes from a long line of spiritual mediums. She is also an afterlife researcher, a paranormal investigator, and she mixes her skills with her special gifts in order to seek knowledge of the unknown, paranormal, and metaphysical. Join Peggy live on Spreaker, Saturday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. For some great conversation with awesome guests and some fun along the way. Be sure to follow Peggy's social media on Periscope, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For all of Peggy's sponsors, check out the links in the description. Here's your host, Peggy Gypsy.
Hello, hello, beautiful people. I hope everyone is having a wonderful 4th of July weekend. I woke up today and I thought for some reason that today was Sunday. With all these days off, I couldn't even figure out what day it was that was what. I just know that I didn't want to go back to work. So I'm very excited. Last weekend, my last show, it was a pre-recorded show, and I know a lot of people were kind of upset when they came into the chat room and they saw that it was pre-recorded. Unfortunately, sometimes I do have to do that in order to, scheduling conflicts with the guests and myself, but I do love being live and being able to chat with everybody. We already have a few people in the chat room, and hi guys, I can see them writing. So just a little quick, little reminder. I am a co-owner of Mysterious Journeys, and we'll be holding an event in Buffalo, New York on December 8th, 2019. And the event is Christmas with the Tennessee Ray Chasers. We will have Mike and Chris from Tennessee Ray Chasers. Those tickets are still on sale. We do expect that it is going to sell out, guys, so do not wait till the last minute to get tickets. I don't want to get text messages, the week of saying, is there any more room? Can I have a ticket? We're actually holding a contest that if you get your ticket before August 1st, you will actually win a signed poster by the boys. So I think it's kind of cool. I know I want one, so I better get one. And make sure to follow us on Mysterious Journeys on Facebook. Also, my next event is going to be July 28th at the Hinsdale House. It is the Hinsdale Investigation and Bonfire. Last time we were there a couple weeks ago, we had so many evidence. I mean, lots of communication. It was so much fun. The group of people were just loving the experience, and they were capturing pictures and just so many things. And it was such a cool experience. And I even did the bonfire, which is kind of crazy because I'm a city girl, but I'm a Southerner at heart. But it was my first real bonfire, you guys. And it kind of sucked. I had people kind of help me because, it wasn't a good bonfire. So I promise you guys, if you're coming on the 28th, I will research how to officially do a real bonfire. And tonight's guest, I'm super, super, super excited. I've been seeing her social media for such a long time, and we've messaged here and there, but this is one of the people in the paranormal who, she's really doing her thing. And I love to see women doing these amazing things and, shaking and moving and making moves. I love boss babes, and she is one of these people who is just taking everything by storm. And you guys, say hello to Sharla.
Hello, everybody. Wow, what an incredible introduction.
That's true. I've been seeing you we just follow each other and kind of see what we're doing. And it's finally, we're just I sent her a message and I was like, come on, be on my show, please.
I've been looking forward to this for so long. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So can we talk? I know I had told everybody this whole summer is going to be the summer of experiences. But when I saw what you were doing about, raising funds for your documentary, I thought oh my God, I need to have her on. That is such a great idea. I'm one of those people, I don't read about things because if I'm going to have you as a guest, I want to feel like I'm also listening to your story and I want to be proud. I want to be oh my God. So tell me about Ghost of Wars. How did you come up with that? What is the background there?
So, it's kind of crazy, actually. It all happened one afternoon in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I had been there for an investigation with my BFF, Beth, and Ghost Hunt USA. And we had gone as attendees. She works for Ghost Hunt USA, but she was just going with me because I wanted to go and had never been to Gettysburg. So we had this crazy night of investigating. It was awesome. And then the next day when I was leaving, I stopped off at this battlefield, which was kind of down off the beaten path. It was one of those that if you've ever been to Gettysburg, everything has a historic marker in front of it. Mm-hmm. You could pull over in the middle of nowhere and there would be a historical marker because so much happened there. Yeah. But I was just really drawn to this field, and I pulled over and I got out of the car, and there was nobody there. All the tourists were up at the battlefield on top of the hill, which was the really popular one. And I just kind of walked out there, and as anybody who's sensitive knows, when you go into places like that, sometimes some of the most cherished are the ones when you're by yourself, just kind of experiencing, the surroundings. And I just had this feeling that I just needed to lay down in the middle of this battlefield. And I did. And, like an idiot on the side of the road. Cars whizzing by, and
they're looking at you what is she doing? She has to be a tourist.
Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just experiencing. So, I just laid down and I kept thinking in my head, with the staggering number and the loss of lives that happened there, what would it be like to be one of those soldiers, to be in my 20s, to be in my 30s, my whole life ahead of me, and knowing that in that instant it was cut short. Many of those men laid in that battlefield for days before there was a ceasefire and they were able to get medical attention, or, many of them had expired during those 2 days. What would that have been like? What would it have smelled like? What would it have looked like? What would be the thoughts that, go through your mind facing your last days or hours like that? And it was just very overwhelming. So I left there with this incredible sense of just awe into what those men went through, and some women too, right? Yeah. But it was mainly, I guess, that taking that experience away and then finding out later on that I had relatives who fought there on that battlefield, one who was captured and taken into custody and then switched sides. Which was, it was, and then I thought, the more that I dug into these men's background, the more I thought, I want to tell their story. Yeah. Who all this was sitting here in my family history, and nobody had ever said anything about it. Nobody really even knew about it. It's all in public records, out there, but, and just to think that all of us in some way or another have pasts, our family history and our ancestry of some really cool people who did some really amazing things and lived through some. Can I cuss on this show?
You can't say the FUCK word. That's the only one.
who really went through some shiitake, they really went through some things.
No, we can say shit.
Okay. They really went through some shit. I mean, and all of us have those people in our background, and wouldn't it be cool if we could all just research that and find out? And these aren't really heroic, great war generals or anything like that. They were people who were some volunteered, some were drafted in, some went because they felt a sense that they had to go, whatever the case may be. Just ordinary people with incredible stories. Wow. Why not tell them?
Oh my! So you just, from one day to the other, you came with this whole concept of, this is what I'm gonna do, and I want to document my journey.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so crazy. I mean, so how much research have you done? Like, when I saw that you guys got funded, like, when do you plan to shoot?
So research hasn't ended. It's still going on. I'm still finding out things about my relatives and where they fought and how they fought and, what the circumstances were around certain things. As a matter of fact, before I was talking to you, I was just finishing up some research on my third great-grandfather, the one who was captured at Gettysburg, his regiment, and have finally nailed down the place where it happened. So I can't wait to go to Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in a couple weeks, and then go back to that battlefield, 3 years later, and kind of just, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just sit there and, I guess, experience again.
That was definitely a sign they want you to tell their story, for you to feel compelled to pull over, just and just lay there on the ground, and this is something that you have to do. Yeah.
As far as filming goes, we'll probably start filming. Let's see, the Kickstarter doesn't officially end until July 26th. So we'll keep going until then, because we have some stretch goals we'd like to meet. It's good. It's roughly $1,500 an episode to produce. So, right now we fund it at $1,000 an episode. So if we can make up any of those incremental costs, to do it, that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. So the Kickstarter officially ends July 26th. And from there, we'll take the list, which is like a mile long. What's crazy, Peggy, is that some of these relatives from different sides of the family fought during the same battles on different sides, and then 156 years later, here I am, a product of all of them in some way or another. Because, when you start looking at your family tree, you have your mother and your father, mm-hmm. and then your mother and your father have a mother and a father, and their mothers and fathers have a mother and a father, a mother and a father, a mother and a. And so, by the time you get 3 or 4 generations back, you've got 30-something people in your tree who you're a direct descendant of, and so that's a lot of people for that time frame, and. So there's still a lot of research going into it. At some point, I'm going to have to stop and say, okay, that's it.
Yeah, there's going to be some point where you're going to be like, okay, seriously. But you know what? The good thing is they'll take you into your second season of the documentary. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that's going to be like that, I think people are going to love it. People love history. And I'm just amazed by it, how out of nowhere you just decided to do this.
Out of nowhere. I mean, I'm following that inner voice, I guess they say, or following. I don't know what I'm following, but we'll find out in a few months.
Now, how does your family feel about this? Are you getting some pushback from certain family members, like let the dead people lie? Like, why are you bringing this up? Or is everybody supportive?
I think that everybody at this point, I haven't led a very conventional life, so I think people kind of expect odd things out of me anyway.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm that person in the family, and so I think they're just like, oh, Sharla's doing something again. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, everybody's been super supportive. I think that, there was some concern initially about, I think maybe some people thought I was just going to go out and, try to have seances on ancestors' graves. And, some people just don't get it, right?
We don't have a normal life, normal jobs. We're creeping in the corners doing seances and,
Exactly. So, once I kind of explained that, that's not exactly what we do, then I think a lot of people were a lot more comfortable with it. And I've just been overwhelmed by the amount of support and the encouragement of my family members. It was people outside of my family initially who didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yes, some folks from an older generation along that same family line.
Yeah.
But, probably seventh, eighth generation level cousins whom I've never met before in my life, they were really upset about it, threatened to send information to the cities in which we were going to get permits to film and saying they'd never allow it. And, because it is all based on religion, what they interpret their religion to be around investigating. And I mean, it's Georgia. It's Georgia. Bottom line,
man.
Georgia.
Yeah.
And
I lived briefly in the South.
Yeah, you're gonna run into that. And it's like
Belt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like one of my other family members said, "What do you care what they think?
Yeah.
Let them try to stop you from pulling a permit."
Exactly.
They're not going to.
Most of those people, they're just like shit talkers. They're going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to stop you from doing this," and those are the people that they would not even leave their house to do anything.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be worried.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you from Darren. He says, any new devices being used for these series? Like, what devices are you going to be using?
Yeah. Hey, Darren, if it's the Darren I'm thinking about.
Darren Bus?
Yes. Hey, Darren.
Yes.
That is the one. So, yeah. Okay. So Jeff Fent, who most of you are probably familiar with, he makes these amazing boxes. I came in, I don't want to call them boxes because they're really not just boxes. They're works of art. They're almost, they each have their own personality. They each have their own history and story. And he went out and sourced an old radio that one would take with them, let's say if they were going on a trip or a train ride, like back in the early 1900s. And he got some pictures of Asbury, who's probably the most vocal of my ancestors, my fourth great grandfather, who just, bless Jeff's heart, to use a Southern phrase, probably tormented this man because he wants.
Oh, bless his heart.
He wants his story told so bad. And Jeff has posted videos and things like that. And he is just, I mean, I'm blown away at what he has done to this box and the work that he's put into it and what's come out of it. And that's going to be a huge part of this series, is using that box, because it's so beautiful. And I cannot wait to go pick it up. And he's going to meet me halfway between here and where he is. And that's going to be a very emotional day when that happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really exciting. As you're speaking, all I can think about, I don't know why, but I'm thinking about, you said they fought at different sides. So I'm thinking, how is that going to be? That's going to be a little drama going on, because you have, on different sides. I mean, people, when you stand for something, you stand for something, especially at that time, it's, you stand for your side and for what you believe.
It's going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to be emotional. There are things in my family's past that I'm going to have to confront head on. Yeah. And it's particularly when it comes to slavery, and that's going to be very hard. Yeah. And especially with anybody whose family has been in this country for longer than 150, for longer than 3 or 4 generations, their lives somehow or another were touched by the Civil War, whether it was on one side or the other, or both, like most of us have now, because we're all such. I like to say I'm such a mutt. I've got family from all over, but that's a very difficult aspect of it that I'm going to have to confront. And
it did it again.
Yeah.
You guys, I don't mean to interrupt her, but when we were chatting before the show started, to her, and it did it again. And it's that would be your left. Is that your left?
This is my right. Yeah.
That would be her right. It keeps going like this ball of light, and it keeps, and we noticed it at the beginning. We were just kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird. And now it's happened twice. So we're both like, just like, okay, they know you're talking about them, you know? They're like, oh, yeah, I want to be part of the show.
Oh, that's kind of creepy. Kind of creepy, Peggy.
Because there's nothing. I'm just looking at what's behind you. And I'm like, well,
you know, I have lights in these bookcases that are like built in. And I think that's what's happening. I think one's getting brighter. I don't know.
It's kind of weird. So, you know, I know it is going to be a little controversial when it comes to the part of slavery, but I feel like if you tell the story as it is, I mean, we can't control what our ancestors did and what our past did, you know.
Yeah, but I think it's important to meet it head on, you know, and look it square in the eyes and discuss it, because I think by turning a blind eye to it and maybe glossing over it, it's almost disrespectful. So, you know, I think that I have to, there's a dichotomy to it. You know, there's a push and a pull. There's a shame to it. There is a sadness to it, but there's also, you know, without these people, I wouldn't be here kind of thing. So, it's going to be a delicate line to walk. And, you know, I thought about mentally preparing for it and doing research, but I think I'm just going to let it occur naturally. Yes. So that in the moment it's real. And,
it would be nice, like, if you just have like that raw emotion, like, as you're filming, instead of like, you know, kind of getting ready for it, just kind of just go and live it, you know. Yeah. Oh, Rosa says hi. Rosa's on. Hi, Rosa.
Rosa's a big part of this. Rosa is a producer level backer.
Oh, nice.
So Rosa will actually be joining us for an episode.
Oh, you know, Rosa's an amazing person. She's always there to help people out, and she's always there to jump in projects, and she's very well respected. I really love her. She's a nice person.
She really is. She's pretty amazing. And also, I just noticed that Mike Archer was in the chat. Yes. And Mike was our first backer, and he was our funding backer yesterday. I called him the bookends, because he was the first backer and the last backer till we got our goal.
Oh, that is so nice. He says, hi, Sharla.
Hi, Mike. And Fred is a backer. Melissa Grubbs is a backer. We got a ton of backers in here.
Yeah, this is all your people. This is all your people in the chat room.
And Matt with Paranormal, you guys are backers. Paranormal Buzz Radio.
You know, and Matt. It's so exciting. Everybody, you know, people just love you. I'm like so excited to be talking to you, because I feel like I knew at some point, you know, our paths were gonna cross. So I'm like,
there's no doubt it's coming.
I'm like, you know, we're gonna talk. We're gonna, you know, and just a few conversations we've had is I've always been like so cool and so just you know, I like it. And you guys, she looks so beautiful right now. I'm looking at her on Skype, and I look like crap. I have like a bathrobe, hair in a bun. I look like a hot mess.
There's no way you could not look unbeautiful if you tried.
Oh my God, no, guys.
Is that even a word? Unbeautiful.
Don't listen to her. Usually I do this just audio, because I'm like, oh, you know, I look like a hot mess. But you know, if you put the camera on, it's like, okay, I'll accept. Let's do a video on this.
That's great.
Let's see.
You're naturally beautiful, though. You can get away with that.
You're so sweet. So are you.
Some of us have to work a lot harder.
Oh my God, stop it. Oh, stop it. So back to, because I'm so interested in this Ghost of Wars. Now, when do you think, like, the time frame that you guys are going to start filming?
So I would say Kickstarter ends July 26th. We will look at locations and we'll start mapping out logistics and applying for permits in August, which puts us probably realistically late September, early October. And then we'll probably film through the end of the year, because we both have some events that we have to do. I don't know if you've seen Twisted Twisted Paranormal Society, the guys from Twisted Paranormal, Lyle Watts and Brandon Johnson, are the film crew for Ghosts of War series. So,
okay.
yeah. So we have to kind of work within each other's schedules and that kind of thing. So they just wrapped up season 2 for the Twisted Realm.
Yes.
And so now they'll be leaping into Ghosts of War series.
Oh, those guys are just working.
Yeah, they don't stop. But you know what? I don't think they'd have it any other way. They love what they do. You know, they absolutely love this. So that's one of the reasons I was so excited to be able to partner with them is they're in it, man. 150% they're in it. So I'd say late September, early October, and then film through the remainder of the year. And then I'd look for probably a spring release maybe of 2020.
That's going to be fast.
I hope. That's what I'm hoping. I don't hold me to it. It's more like fall of 2020, but I'd really like to do it by spring. I feel this like incredible sense of urgency, you know, to get it out there. And because all the backers, this is their film, you know, it's when you start doing a Kickstarter and you see the people that are supporting you and, you know, whether it's $10, whether it's $10,000, that you begin to have a sense of responsibility to every single one of those backers to deliver an amazing piece of work. And, you know, I see this as their project too. They're the ones that funded this because I'm a single mom and I'd never be able to follow this dream if it weren't for the level of support that I received. So they are enabling me to do this project. And so, you know, it better be damn good. Because
I'm telling you, you have so much support, and it is such a blessing to have people support you and your passion. Like, it's amazing.
I can't tell you how
many says Sharla knows I support her.
Yes, he does. Absolutely.
So now you're gonna have a event. I'm like scrolling like with my finger, like it's a touch screen. Oh, technology! I tell you. You're going to have an event at Malvern Manor. I'm just looking up here. Somebody said that they can't wait for your event.
Oh, yeah. So October 19th, I'll be at Malvern Manor. It's going to be Elizabeth Saint, Johnny Hauser, Madison Smith from Madison Smith Paranormal, Ashley, what's her last name? Godwin. Oh, dang it.
Kill you now.
I know. I don't have it in front of me. But we're doing an event at Malvern Manor on the 18th or 19th, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. And tickets are. I think there's some still some tickets available. I think the VIP tickets are gone, but if you go to Eventbrite and you do a search for Elizabeth Saint, then the tickets are under her name somewhere, so you'll be able to find them.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice event. That's very exciting. Oh my God. Now, when did you start Girls vs. Ghost?
Girls vs. Ghost came about, 3 years ago now, when Beth Moore and I were doing some investigations together, and we decided that, you know, we really wanted to create a forum where women could do paranormal investigations together, where we could talk about it, and just you know, enjoy ourselves. You know, sometimes it seems the atmosphere can be a little oppressive sometimes.
Oh, yeah, we had a conversation about this not too long ago.
Exactly. And so, you know, we're like, well, let's just get a group of women together and go investigate, and no pressure. You know, we can laugh, we can have a good time, and just enjoy being ourselves and not feel constricted in any way. Yeah. Not that men are constrictive, but you know, it's just a different vibe.
It's
a
different vibe when you're hanging out with a whole bunch of girls and we're investigating versus, you know, how it usually happens. That's like, you know, 6 guys and only like maybe 1 or 2 girls, and you're just kind of like, oh. Sometimes we guys, we love you, and you know, I have so many guy friends who I investigate with, and they've taught me so much. I love you guys, but sometimes it's it's empowering seeing like a group of females investigating, because paranormal is still a man's world, and it's only a few of us out there.
And it's fun, just, I think women in general, like, sometimes when you go to a girls' night, because you want to just let it go and have fun and laugh about girl things, without judgment, and that we all go through and that we all deal with, whether it's like, physically or whatever, and you just laugh and you just have fun. It's your girls, and it's just, you're just with your girls, and taking that girls' night out type mentality and bringing it to an investigation, it doesn't mean that, it's demeaning or lessening the sincerity and the seriousness of the investigation at all. It's just bringing a different vibe and a different mood to it. And, I've been on investigations, and maybe one or two females are there, and, something strikes me as funny, that comes through on the ghost box or a spirit box or whatever, and, you kind of laugh, and then I inevitably will end up snorting from laughing, and then I'll realize that I'm the only one laughing and snorting, which will make me laugh and snort even more.
Yeah.
And then, everybody's kind of looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with her? You do that in a group of women, and we'll
just laugh. It's
that whole room is going to be laughing.
It's serious. We're trying to get evidence. It's research. I get it, but sometimes it's okay to be funny, and that's what like Lynn and I, when we do our tours, we're like, you know what? This is not a tour. You're not going to watch me for 3 hours as I do everything, and people laugh and think that's fun, and I'm like, oh no, you hold this, you do this. We're delegating. We're involving people. And I think that's what we bring into our investigations, where it's like, we're not just serious, like, oh, the demons are here. We kind of bring, like, it's just fun. You just gotta, Yes, Darren said women's are triggers. Oh yeah. I don't know if you a lot of nasty things.
Yes. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but some of the best responses, and I'd say unplanned responses, are sometimes the ones that come when you're not really paying attention, or when you're laughing and cutting up. We were in a group, there were probably 5 or 6 of us, and Justin Spurrier, he was the only guy there, at Randolph County Asylum one night. We rented out the place, and we were laughing about something and cutting up, and the next thing you know, you hear on this, the Phasma Box app, like this spirit totally chiming in with the conversation as if they were a part of the joke too. Which, we all kind of stopped and looked at it, and then looked at each other and started laughing even more. We're like, oh my God, they're cutting up with this. Yeah. Like they're enjoying this. They're enjoying this banter and this laughter, and the energy was high and the mood was good, and it was bringing in a lot of positive spirits and energies. And that was a really cool experience. And that's when I realized, sometimes I don't need to be so serious about everything, maybe.
I used to be so serious. And I'm like, I'm a silly person. So I'm like,
There's a time and place, I think, for everything. And sometimes we just need to, like, blow off some steam and have some fun.
Yeah. But I do agree that sometimes, like, I've been investigating and, we're quiet and everybody's so focused and, like, nothing happens. And then when you take that break that you're just talking shit and, laughing, then something will happen. A sound, a noise, something will come through, and you're like, is it do they want to join in, or is it like, hey, I'm feeling ignored? Like, pay attention, I'm here.
Come back here, move the group to me. I want to talk. I want to communicate. Yeah, it's like like I'm looking at my cat right now. He can't come in because he'll be all over the computer and like causing mayhem.
I have 2 cats, and I'm shocked that they have to like walk across the screen and all over the computer. Yeah,
so he's just sitting out there looking at me. He's just sitting out there looking at me. And I think sometimes that's kind of how spirits are.
Yeah.
When we ignore them or we go to another part of the building and we just kind of leave them without listening to them, and they just kind of sit there like, okay, you're here to investigate and I'm here, like, but you're not letting me in. Yeah.
Like, pay attention to me. That happens to me a lot. And that's when I get like the best evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, totally. Man. Now, what got you into the paranormal? I'm always curious how people, fall in love with the paranormal. Like, what experience was it that just made you be like, wow, I want to know more about this? Because it is, people still think it's kind of creepy. I have friends who are just kind of like, really? You like all that weird stuff? I'm like, I don't think it's weird.
Yeah. I have a very mainstream corporate job. And so I get that a lot, and I try to keep the two lives like separate. Yeah. But sometimes via social media or, people randomly Googling you or whatever, they find out, they bring it up, and I get that question a lot. But I think for me, I had an experience when I was a child. I was very sick. I saw something in the corner of the room. It was a very bright light. And, just long story short, that's kind of, I from that moment in my life, and I was only like 5.5, maybe 6 years old. And it just stuck with me. And, I've kind of been chasing that ever since. But I grew up with animals. I grew up working with horses, and horses are very, any of us who have pets or who grew up with animals at all, or even like bird watchers. I mean, there's a, to be able to have that level of a relationship with something that cannot speak, and that you cannot share a language, a verbal communication with, that to me is enough to prove that there are psychic connections. And then to take that to, what is that energy? What is that energy that we call cognitive thought? What is that energy that we have, that we call our conscious, our soul? And where does it go, after the shell that it's encased within has broken down or expired or quit working. I've always been fascinated with that. And my horse was my first investigation partner. We would go to this abandoned house off of Rehoboth Church Road in Griffin, Georgia. And I would ride my horse all over we lived in the country. So I would just take off on my horse and be gone for hours.
Oh my God.
And we would go to this abandoned house, and I had this this tape cassette recorder, like really, really old tape recorder. And I'd go into this, I'd have my horse's reins, and I'd go as far into the house as I could go and still hold my horse at the same time. And when he would start reacting to things, then I'd hurry up and I'd push the record button, and then I'd just sit there and I'd listen. I didn't ask a lot of questions at first. I just mainly would record and I'd listen. And then I couldn't wait to go home that night and, take care of my horse, put him up, and run in the house. I'd sit down and listen to the tape recorder, just sit there for, hours listening to, to see if I could hear anything. And, then when I started watching shows and I realized, oh my gosh, this isn't just a me thing. I'm not just, it's not just me being creepy and weird. Like other people do this. It's a thing. Then that's when I was like, this is really cool. So I started kind of formally doing that. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, did you ever get anything? Did you ever get an EVP when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got the name Clara. I'll never forget this. I was in that house, and a bottle, it was like, sometimes when you go to these old abandoned houses like that, it's like people just left, and there was a lot of stuff that was still there. There was still furniture there. It was all chewed up and molded and gross, but it was still there. And a bottle had fallen off of the wall, an old bottle. And it scared me. I was probably 12 or 13 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I turned around, and I had been recording, and I said, that was a bottle falling. My voice was just like, that was a bottle falling off of the wall. I'm like,
I love 12-year-old Sharla right now. Guys, if you can see her face, she's acting out this whole story. I am like just loving this.
And so, because I wanted to be able to remember later that that's what that noise was. And after that, I said,
you were tagging, like, what happened? Yeah. You were like,
and I didn't even, I didn't even realize it. And I said, I wonder who that was. And then all of a sudden you hear Clara. And I was like, I didn't hear it in real life.
Again.
So, I didn't hear that in real life, but then when I was listening to it later and I heard this Clara, I was like, I sat straight up and I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. This is happening. I finally got something.
Finally got something. You're 12. We have like the future, like, ghost hunter talking about, finally I got the evidence. And the horse looks at you. I can't take you right now. You're so adorable.
I even wanted to go tell my horse, like, he cared, but
the horse would have been like just looking at you like,
yeah.
Okay.
You got an apple kid.
I know. Derek has a question for you. He says,
Yes.
What is the most scariest EVP you have gotten in the investigation?
Well, okay, the scariest one, I don't remember. I get so many weird, you know how it is. You get so many weird things that nothing really stands out. But I will say one of the coolest ones ever in my whole life. You will hear it on the season finale of The Twisted Realm this year.
Oh.
Dun,
That was a cliffhanger, you guys. She's not going to tell us what it is. She wants us to watch the episode.
I will just say this. I have never, ever heard something that loud before in my life. It was a real voice. And it was all captured on film. And we all, like, freaked out over it. But that's all. I can't say anymore. Lyle will kill me.
Yeah, please. They would be like, come on, you're giving it all away. Come on. Now, I always like to ask you, like, what was the scariest experience you've had investigating? Or it could be, like, sometimes stuff happens when you're home and you're asleep and you're going to the bathroom and you're like, what the F was that happen? Like, what was, like, your scariest experience that just kind of always sticks with you?
I always go back to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital just because that's the experience that keeps on giving, that keeps on scaring. That whole place, the whole energy of that place is just it's a different world there. Yeah. It's a different realm. It's a lot of intensely negative energy. I watched a girl's phone get knocked out of her hands. Wow. And I know that if I wouldn't have been there, I wouldn't believe this. But I watched her, she was taking a picture and holding her arm out, and she was like this, and so you can't see me, but she was holding her camera out and had her finger about to take the picture. And all of a sudden her phone goes up and over her right shoulder. So there's no way that you can, do that without moving your arm. Her arm stayed right there where it was when it was extended.
Someone just went kind of just like hit her arm up. Yes.
And that I think was, and that might not seem like such a big deal, but to me, what that meant was they have the ability to move objects with great force. Yeah. That was, I think, the first time that I had experienced that in person and saw it directly happen in front of my eyes. And I was like, whoa, like to where there was no way possible that there could have been any other explanation for that happening. I saw the whole thing. Yeah. And that to me made it very real, and it made it very honest and humbling to know that sometimes this can really, really, really be dangerous.
We forget, and
right.
We forget that, we're putting not only our physical self in danger, but our spiritual self in danger. And because this is what we love to do, sometimes we need to be reminded. And that's what they do. Like, hey, we are powerful. We can hurt you if we really want to. So it's kind of like, it's a scary thing.
It is. It is very scary.
To see that, I would have been like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I was like, I was like, okay, I'm out. I don't know what you guys are going to do, but I'm
And you said this
going
was
there.
at Old South Pittsburgh and
Old South
Tennessee?
Pittsburgh Hospital. Yeah, Tennessee.
I was there in March, and I went for an event, and it was a lot of people. So like when it's just too many people.
Yeah.
But I still was able to pick up that place is effing creepy.
Yeah.
I was ooh, I want to come back by myself, like with a smaller group. I definitely want to go back with a smaller group.
If you really open up and tap into that energy that's there, like, I mean, some people are okay with that with that energy and can handle it. It unsettles me. It unsettles me because I don't know why. Like I don't do well with demons and the whole like bad energy, mean ghosts. I want I want nice like little old ladies who want to tell me this story.
Spirits, so they're nice.
I do. I really do. It's taken me a long time to admit that, but yeah, I mean, like Beth, my best friend, she's good with the weird. She's good with the crazy. She's good with negativity. Me, I just shut everything down. Like I block thick concrete walls around me. I don't even let it in. Like, and sometimes even on an investigation, she'll be like, "Shar, you gotta dial it back a little. Nothing's happening."
Oh my God, I love it.
You got the whole room blocked, and
Yeah, like come on, yeah. I remember like when I first investigated with one of my good friends, Sean Austin. He was like, oh, this was like years ago, and I always remember this. He goes, oh yeah, because I like dark and demons, and you're like bubblegum and rainbow. I was like, what the heck? And I remember for me, it was like, it took me a while to realize. I was like, oh, yeah, I need to start experiencing more. And that's when I kind of started opening myself up more in the sense of going to locations that I knew that were bad and that I was going to scare and kind of just challenge myself. So now when like crazy things happen, I always go back to that moment where I used to be like, I like good spirits. Like how you say, the old lady, the cat, the child,
I'm okay. I'm okay contacting them. And, even elementals. I mean, elementals, I'm cool with elementals. I'm cool with like, weird and strange. I just don't like the super, super dark that, want to rip her soul out and eat it for dinner. I'm just.
Exactly. They're like, I want to kill you. You're like, oh, great. I'm okay with get out.
Yeah.
But I'm not okay with you want to kill me. Like,
exactly.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still not used to like that, like even sometimes the get out, like depending on the tone of the get out, I'm like, oh, maybe I should get out. Like, what are you trying to tell me?
And I'm terrible with that. I go into like mom mode. Like we were at St. Albans, and I was there with Twisted Paranormal Society, and there was, I can't even say it on air, what was said on the whatever device it was at the time that we were using, but it was really nasty and very graphic. And I just kind of went into, well, that's not very nice. Somebody needs a timeout. There's a spirit in need of a timeout here. You go to your corner. We'll talk to you later.
Oh my God, I can't believe you went all into mom mode.
I mean, it happens,
It's funny, like when they tell me to get out and we're doing a tour and they'll be like, get out. I'm like, sorry, I really can't leave. I'm working. So you're going to have to put up with us for the next 3 hours. Yeah. Like, we're not going anywhere.
We got one of those one time. I was like, get out. And everybody just kind of sat there. And then I went, why? You're like, do you need privacy?
Here. And that's me. I think about the money that I paid, or just the travel time to get somewhere. I'm like, no. And it's always like at the beginning. It's never like towards the end of the night when you're tired. It's always like when you're pumped. Get out. Like,
not right now, but thank you.
I'm like, no, because I drove 5 hours and paid hotel to be here, so I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly. Can't we work this out?
So I could only imagine like what they would say back to us or something like that, where you're like, no, I paid this much to be here and I did this, you know. But
I just think that like the negative, like any like super, super negative spirit, you know, I just can't like be all negative with them. I like have to infuse a certain amount of humor into that, because humor, I think, is one of the best defense mechanisms, because you can't be afraid of and allow something to hurt you, something that you don't fear, something that you reduce to a humorous energy, you know, because the smaller it is to you in your mind, the less power it has over you. So I guess that's how I've learned to deal with the super negative, is just to, you know, give it right back and say, we're going to take a break now. You know,
I need coffee. We'll be back. And they're like, what the heck just happened here?
We're totally not effective at this one. Let's go to the next.
Right? Be like, oh my God. That place was cool, Old South Pittsburgh. That was really nice. I love the little town. They have like this awesome Italian restaurant in town. I can't even remember the name, but I know the food was really good.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. You know, there's got a lot going for it in that area. You've got the river, you've got the railway, you've got the granite that's underneath there, limestone or whatever it is. Yeah. You know, it's built on top of a burial ground, which is obviously now desecrated. It's had 2 fires. It's, you know, it's an interesting, it's like the perfect soup for insanity of a paranormal investigation night. I mean, it checks all the boxes.
It's like, okay, creepy. Yes, this, yes. It's like, okay, I want to go. I definitely do want to go again when it's like a smaller group.
Yeah.
Instead of Matt said, give me another pack of Camels Unfiltered. I guess that's what he was telling when we were telling telling the spirits.
Exactly.
But it's funny when they're like, get out. And I'm like, I really can't because I'm working. So, no, we're not going
This
anywhere.
is where I work.
I'm like, we're not going anywhere. We're having a tour right now. So you just got to deal with it. You know, bother me later.
That's right. I'll catch you outside in the back.
Right,
Mr. Bad Spirit person.
Yeah, let you go outside, and then you feel like a really strong wind, and something falls, and you're gonna be running. Yes. I'm like, I was just kidding.
Just kidding. Sorry, my bad.
I play. Oh my God, this has been so much fun. I'm like, oh my God. I'm looking at the time. Like, where did the time go?
Oh wow, it's already been an hour.
Sheesh.
Crazy. I wanted to just quickly say one thing really fast. Hi Dennis. Darren had made a comment about being a backer and stuff like that. And, you know, although I really do appreciate all the donations, I mean, anything like just to the people who shared the link to the donations, I consider them backers. I consider them supporters because, you know, it's, look, I know times are tight and not everybody has money to donate, but just the encouragement that people have shown me along the way, the shares of the post, all of that, I consider that just as valuable as anything monetarily, because those shares lead to other donations, you know? And
that's so true.
So thanks, Darren, for all of your support. I really appreciate it.
That is, you know, that is true. Is everybody who shared, everybody who commented, you know, everybody just kind of, even if you didn't give money, showing support people for whatever our dreams are, whatever we do, that's good. That's enough for me.
It means so much. It means so much. And it means a difference some days of, you know, like not getting frustrated and saying, yes, we can make this happen. You know, just that little bit of encouragement goes a long way, I think, for all of us.
Yeah. Like, even when someone shares my stuff on social media, I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm like, yay, I love you. Because
really
people
makes
realize, like, you know, it's just every little bit counts for everything that we do in this business. So it's like, I'm always grateful when people send me a message. Sometimes it takes me a long time, you guys. I do have a 2-year-old. So, you know, sometimes, you know, people get upset when you don't respond right away. And, they need to realize, we have jobs, we're moms, we have lives. So sometimes, but I always try to get back to everyone and respond
Yes.
to their questions and stuff.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes. And with the level of like spam that comes your way when you manage pages, there's a lot that comes with that. And sometimes it just, it gets overwhelming.
Yeah. I emailed her. It was the funniest thing. Her and I corresponding. I don't even know how we even got to even set this up. It was like, it started at Instagram, went to Facebook, went to my email. We have no idea how we even set anything up because
It was
we were
DM
responding
tour.
to things in different platforms. It was crazy.
It was
crazy.
It was like follow the breadcrumb trail of communication.
Somewhere we got here.
The beauty of it is that we got it.
I know we did. I was so
Finally,
excited.
Yeah.
So now I always like to end my show with words of wisdoms. So what words do you have for people out there? Words of wisdom.
Just tune out the background noise. Be yourself. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do, and don't limit yourself by the own limitations that you put on yourself. I think we can be our biggest critics sometimes, and we can be our biggest hindrances to achieving our goals. If you want to do something, do it. There are people out there that will support you. Those that don't, it's just not their thing. You don't have to criticize them or get mad. Just let them be and go on and do your thing. Probably could have been said a lot more poignant way, but that's just,
I love it.
That's my advice.
In other words, don't listen to the haters.
Yes, just
keep going, keep
thing.
hustling, keep going after what you believe. Because trust me, we all have haters at the end of the day. Just don't listen to them. Just keep doing you and doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
And this was so awesome. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm glad I don't want it to be over.
I know. You'll have to come on.
You'll have to come on Girls vs. Ghosts next.
I know. We have to make that happen because this was so much fun. I'll promise next time that you see me, I will comb my hair.
Same here.
Your hair looks beautiful. I gave her a compliment on her hair color, you guys. For those of you who don't know my real job, I'm a hairstylist. So, yeah, I notice people's hair.
Yeah, mine's in need of a bad job here.
No, yours looks good. That's why I was like, wow, I got light.
8 weeks on the other side of a color job, so I got it's time.
No, I love it. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was an amazing hour. Thank you, Sharla. Thank you for, sharing your story with us today and, making us be part of your journey. I cannot wait to see your journey as it unfolds. I'm very excited for that project. And our next guest is going to be July 13th, Kevin Odie. He is from Ghost Watch Paranormal. And he's also an awesome producer, you guys, for tons of Lifetime movies. So if you watch Lifetime movies, you're going to want to tune in because I know all the movies and it was hilarious when I met him. I'm like, I've seen this movie and this movie. And he was like, what? He was like, she watches a lot of Lifetime. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody, like Sharla said, in other words, don't listen to the haters. Turn off that background noise and do what you want to do and just go for it. And thank you so much. And I'll see everybody on July 13th.